Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Several things I want to share with you this time, but I want to start with the nature of oaks, which I featured in the last video, Douglas W. Ptolemy's great book on the oak tree. There's a little section in the back that I didn't mention but should have. It's how to plant an oak. And the third paragraph, he says, although I may not succeed, I'm going to try to convince you to plant acorns rather than transplant established trees. Acorns are easy, free, and plentiful. And they will grow into healthier trees than if you transplant established trees. Now, the next couple of pages, he gives his rationale for that. And I think if you read this book and you get interested in it, I just want you to know that in the back is this 3 pages of advice that I think is quite reasonable advice. Now, this time, I want to look at something else that was one thing leads to another. This poem by Wendell Berry that I spoke about called Traveling at Home. And that got me thinking about being aware of the area around you. Wendell Berry had a farm around him. I've got a small front yard and a relatively small backyard. But certainly things to explore there. And then there's down my street and around and back. Just that walk is filled with talks with neighbors, as well as observing wildlife, deer, occasional raccoon, bird life for sure, smaller birds, to eagles and vultures. But that, just thinking about enlarging that idea a bit to looking at your own, where you live. And here's a map. It's a fairly recent map, maybe 4 years old, put out by a cooperative effort. It's called the Community Green Map of Victoria and Region. Now, Victoria itself is right here. The name goes with Victoria. Then there are communities around it. And this greater Victoria area has about 400,000 people. The provincial capital is here. And the largest city you can get to, it's Vancouver. If you go up this peninsula, there's a ferry terminal called Swartz Bay. You can get on a ferry boat. It takes you through these islands that are here in the Gulf and takes you to the mainland, and then you can connect into Vancouver. More about that maybe in the next video. So this is the place that we moved about 40 years ago. So we've explored some of the backways and byways and places around it. And then we've gone up the island as well, some. And not extensive, but there's actually plenty around where we live. Here's where the university is, and we live just not too far from that. So not a terribly long walk, and you can get down to the ocean. this map has some nice features, and I just thought, wasn't it nice that the community made this map with the information they've included here along the sides and in the bottom? Because what they do is they list where we get our drinking water from these lakes. They tell where the landfill is. They tell where you can take, where there's recycling and composting and park and ride facilities, community gardens, or organic farms, various cafes that try to follow along lines of organic food, Gary Oak Meadows, wetlands, tidal pools, public gardens and private gardens one can visit, and libraries. And so it's something that the community as a whole can share in and get to know one's community. Now, where I live is an area called Gordon Head, and once upon a time it was wooded, and trees were cut, and the wood was hauled into Victoria for heating. And later, because the land, much of the land was fairly flat, it became farmland. Strawberries were grown, in particular, among vegetables of all kinds, from beans to greenhouses, were greenhouses. And there's a wonderful book that a woman made. It's called From Cornwood to Campus, and it was done by Ursula Jupp, Jupp, in Gordon Head. And the university was built, the campus university opened in 1963, so fairly recent university. And this book has loads of photographs and maps and descriptions of different farms and individuals that were prominent in terms of the agricultural community in particular. And it's a great local history. And I feel that probably it's not unique. I mean, I think that lots of areas, there have been people somewhere along the way who said, you know, I'd like to find out more about the history of this place, and they've written it, or there's historical museums, or there's places where one can find out some of the best. Lots of the streets, for example, that come from the names of some of these people who were farmers, and not all were involved in things like strawberries. Some were raising daffodils, and would have pickers and have a market to transport those and sell them on a bigger scope. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.